I'd like to introduce Kristin from the US, who takes LDN for multiple sclerosis. Good evening, Kristin.
Hello.
Could you tell me when you were diagnosed with MS?
I was diagnosed in 2006, but it took me 12 years to get my diagnosis, so it had been a long time coming.
And how old were you when you finally got your diagnosis?
I was 36.
And how did that impact on your life at that time?
Well, I had already been completely disabled since I was 24. MS hit me rather suddenly with quite a bit of pain, and I had graduated the year before with my degree in classical music. I was a performer, played flute, piano, tenor sax, and within a year I was no longer able to play. So it kind of, the whole thing just yanked the rug right out from under me.
Mm. And what symptoms were you experiencing? You said that it took a while for you to be diagnosed. What happened before your diagnosis?
My biggest symptom was pain, and it was all over. And they gave me a whole bunch of false diagnoses of arthritis and fibromyalgia and, an Arnold-Chiari malformation of my brain even. I had problems with numbness, problems with balance, which looking back, I had problems with balance pretty much all my life. I even had a case of double vision, which they blew off.
Mm-hmm.
I have primary progressive MS, which is a little bit different than the relapse remitting in how it shows up on MRIs. Mm-hmm. Usually on the MRI, it'll show up first in the brain, but with primary progressive, it usually shows up first in the spinal cord. And while they had done MRIs with my brain, they had never taken one of my spinal cord.
Oh, right.
And then, that's how I finally got diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
I finally found a neurologist who knew what they were doing.
So how did you hear about LDN?
I actually heard about it through Facebook. Was constantly getting information on all these other disease-modifying drugs, the Copaxone, Avonex, Rebif, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about LDN and that there were no studies done on it because it was generic, it was cheap. I think at the time I was paying, with charitable help, was about $3,000 a month for Copaxone, and it's gone up since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't had a whole lot of luck with the Copaxone. It really wasn't helping.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got to the point where it actually started causing seizures in me, I said, we got to stop that.
Yeah.
And my neurologist said, well, do you want to try another one? We've got, the Rebif, the Avonex, all this stuff. And I said, what about LDN? And he looked at me a little funny, and he said, well, if you really don't want to take these other drugs, because I had such a severe reaction to the Copaxone, which is supposed to be the mildest of the disease-modifying drugs,
mm-hmm.
he said, let's give it a go. It can't hurt.
Oh, wow. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
I'm lucky to have a very open-minded neurologist.
Yes. And how long ago was that?
That was almost 2 years ago now.
All right. And what was your experience when you first started LDN? Did you have any side effects?
I'm sorry, did I have what?
Any side effects?
The first week I was had a little bit of trouble sleeping, but other than that, no, I've had no side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And to tell the truth, I didn't really notice much of a difference with it. I thought, well, geez, this isn't doing a whole lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I let the prescription go 1 month because I have to send away for it. It was, I was being lazy. And, yeah. And during that 1 month, I got so much worse, I realized how much the LDN was actually doing for me. It's reduced my pain just unbelievably. My balance is a little better. I'm still having, I still have MS issues, and it's not a cure.
Mm-hmm.
But just the reduction in pain alone makes it worth it for me.
So if you had to rate your quality of life on a score of 1 to 10, and 10 being the best, before you started LDN, what would it have been?
Ooh, maybe a 2 or a 3.
And now?
Now I'd say it's probably a 6 or 7.
Well, that's a great improvement, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Good. And what would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
I would say it's cheap, it's effective, it's available. There are very few side effects, even for those who do have side effect problems. Why not try it? Why spend $50,000 a year, even if it is insurance money? Why spend $50,000 a year on a medication that has a 30% chance of maybe helping you, when you can spend, $30 a month and get a better drug?
Before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that medication is very, especially with MS, is very individual to the person. Not everything works the same way on everybody. There are some people who've had very good results with some of the harsher drugs. I just personally prefer, number one, not to have the needles. That helps a lot. And number two, I don't like the ill side effects that you get with the other disease-modifying drugs. So that's why LDN is my choice.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
My pleasure.
Right.
So that's why LDN is my...
Could you tell me about your service dog, please?
Absolutely. I have a Great Dane. His name is Poppy, like the flower. He just doesn't smell as good. But he is my balance dog, and he has changed my life from night to day. I was getting around, usually using a cane, sometimes a walker, sometimes a wheelchair when it was a really bad day. And I didn't want to go out. I'm young enough that people would stare at me. They would occasionally make rude comments, like, "You don't look disabled." And since I've trained Poppy, and he goes with me everywhere, people come up to me and are friendly. They want to meet the dog. It's all about the dog. People may not remember me. That's here and there, but they always remember Poppy.
How does a balance dog work?
Well, Great Danes are natural leaners. They naturally lean into you, so he was very easy to train. We have hand signals. Other than basic obedience, we trained him ourselves and put him through his paces as a service dog. If I lay my hand flat on his back, he braces so I can actually lean on him. And if I place my hand on his side, he leans into me so I can lean back. And the bonus is, if I do actually happen to fall, and he's much more aware of my condition than I am, actually. He lets me know when I need him.
That's not good.
Yeah, but if I do actually happen to fall, he's big enough that he can help me get back up.
Really?
Yeah, and
how does that work?
Well, depends on how I fall. Usually he lays down next to me and I brace myself on him to help myself back up, but he can also pull. I can grab onto his vest and he can pull me forward and pull me up. But once you get a service dog and you have that close relationship with the dog, they learn about you. He knows when I'm not feeling well, and he knows when I'm fine. He won't let me get away with anything. But he taught himself how to help me up and down the stairs. I didn't even teach him that. And we have a total of 6 dogs, 4 of which are Great Danes. And he actually watches out for me with the other dogs and has taught the other dogs, you can't run into Mom, things like that. So it's gone from me being basically housebound to now I can go anywhere I want to go.
Well, that's incredible. And how long did it take to train him?
It probably took a total of 6 months to train him completely.
And did you have help?
I did at first, yes, because he is such a large dog. The first thing I did, well, all of our dogs went to basic obedience class, and that's a must for any dog, if you ask me, especially one that's large. But I needed help when I first started taking him out in public with the leash, the control of him in a leash.
Yeah.
So he would walk beside me and stay there, because I just didn't have the strength and to control him in that way. So my husband helped me there. But after he was trained well to the leash, the rest of it was all me, and it was very easy. It was just a matter of repetition.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure that would be of interest to a lot of people who, like you were saying, felt housebound, and that's allowed you to go out and carry on living your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so many people I hear, I've never heard of balanced dogs. They're not common, and it is true, the larger the dog, generally the shorter the lifespan, and it takes a lot to train a dog to do this, so you're putting a lot of effort into what may not last horribly long, but it's worth every second. Every second.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.